G'day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jay here from Australia with all the kangaroos and the koalas. Yes, they live in my backyard. Absolutely. And this is a chat with Jay as a part of the 1111 Spiritual Transit podcast and Journey of a Whitefeather. And I am jet sitting over to the UK, which I will be doing very, very soon, actually. UK's lovely. Lords cricket. Love the sport. And we're talking to a great friend of mine, Steve Terry, all the way from the UK. Not sure exactly what part of the UK, but we're going to go into his journey right now. Steve, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for being involved, and we're looking forward to hearing from you about your spiritual journey. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Jay. Really pleased and excited to be here. Thanks for having me. I've not so long since come back from Australia as well. Just been in Brisbane in October.
I actually saw that on your socials. You look like you're living. You said you're living your best life in Australia. So what do you think of our country? That we'll call it the little brother of UK, because obviously we're sort of colonised in some way. The story there. What do you think of our country?
Love it to bits. I think it's my second home. If there was anywhere else I would want to live, it's definitely Australia. I mean, absolutely love it. I've sort of been to Melbourne, Sydney, Rockhampton, Kingaroy, Brisbane, of course, Jimboomba, which is where my friends are that I went to see. So stopped with them for nearly 3 weeks. Absolutely fantastic. Just love it.
So I'll have to say, when you come back, you have to go back to my spiritual home and my home in Western Australia. Very, very similar conditions, but for me, as I say on my journey, it's one of my spiritual home. It's a beautiful spot, and one day when you come back, you can go and look at that. And also Adelaide's very nice as well. So we have another. It's lovely to hear from another person from another land to come and enjoy our beautiful country. So we're here to talk about you, mate.
Okay,
so we're here to talk about you. So I'm going to hand it over to you. So we'll talk about your spiritual journey, where you are, what you're doing right now, and what makes you the legend that you are. And I'll tell you, I'm just saying, what a beautiful background you've got. You're going to attract a lot of people with that beautiful background there. So tell us a little bit about yourself, mate.
Yeah, well, I started my spiritual interests, interest in sort of ghosts and gadgets and the spirit world, sort of early teens. I picked up a magazine called The Unknown, and it had things like spontaneous human combustion, if you've heard of that. It's sort of ghosts and EVP, electronic voice phenomena as well, and I absolutely found it fascinating. And
so the paranormal world, you're fascinating. It's one of those things like you. I mean, you look at those TV shows, you got horror movies and movies out there that talk about paranormal activity, but that probably fascinated you beyond means. I mean, there's so much more to that. It's been condensed, but yeah, keep on going. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, definitely. So, and I sort of in my sort of probably at 8 or 9, 10 years old, I kept having a recurring dream where there was a vortex of energy, and I'd sort of wanted to go in there but didn't quite make it. So I'll come back to that later.
Yeah.
So that's really, really good. So really interested in everything sort of spiritual, the supernatural and the paranormal to start off with. Right. And then from about 15, 16, a friend of the family or a colleague my mum used to work with, he was who became friends with the family. He was a spiritual medium. And that sort of piqued my interest. And I ended up picking up a book called Innocent Voices in My Ears by Doris Stokes.
I'm going to write these things down there, Steve, just so I can...
Not a problem.
If that's okay. So I'd like to... So what was that book you called there, mate?
Yeah, Innocent Voices in My Ear by Doris Stokes. And she was a famous medium in the UK back in the 80s. And she visited Australia as well, filled the Opera House. Really, really good medium. The books are fantastic. I mean, there's about 7 or 8 books in the full series. And it piqued my interest. And I think this is the first book I ever read cover to cover in one sitting. And it blew my mind. So moving on a couple of years, with the friends of the family that was a spiritual medium, I ended up going to a spiritualist church as well and started to develop my mediumistic abilities.
Okay.
Couple of years doing that, life got in the way, work got in the way, sort of didn't do a great deal for a few years. Still interested, of course, and still watching and reading and learning about astral projection and all sorts.
Yeah.
So then probably, around about the early 90s, I went into business in the back end of the 80s doing video promotions. And my business partner, his brother-in-law, turned out to be a medium as well. So we became friends, and then we became business partners. And then sort of about the year 2000-ish, we started to go to development circles as well. So we'd had, a few psychic experiences between ourselves, some repartee and various, do you know this, telling each other various psychic things. And of course, we were spot on all the time. So we started developing, going to a development circle with a medium called Jean Noel, and it was about a 40-minute drive from where I live. I live in South Yorkshire, which is more or less central England.
South Yorkshire, that's south. So from England, just to get perspective, that's obviously south of England. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you said?
No, middle of England, more or less. Spot on middle of England.
Oh, okay, cool.
There's a county, a fairly big county, and we're the south of the county. So South Yorkshire.
Cool. Yep,
yeah.
Sweet.
So Yorkshire is the middle, and South Yorkshire is where I am.
Obviously, yeah, cool.
So we started to go to the development circles there. Went there for a couple of years, and enhanced my mediumistic abilities as well. Sat for spirits. Have you heard of spirit boxers or sitting for trance mediumship?
Oh, I can go through that one. Probably heard a different version of it. Probably heard something similar without that actual tag on it.
Okay, sitting for trance, or transfiguration, as it's called, is where you go into a meditative state and allow either your spirit guides to come forward and to start to overlay their energy with your energy.
Oh,
and
right,
they can
okay.
start to manipulate your face and your looks, so you don't look like yourself. You look like the spirit person that's coming through.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of people channeling, where they channel the voice of the medium, or sorry, the person in spirit, or another extraterrestrial. I think some people are starting to channel as well, or have been channeling as well.
Okay.
So yeah, you overlay the spirit guide, or the spirit person will overlay their features over your features, so your face will start to look like theirs. So
wow,
have a mustache, or your face might get fatter or thinner, and you sit in a darkened room, because spirit are light. Spirits are light beings, a lighter vibration. They're white light vibration. So if you're sitting a darkened environment with a black background, they can show up a lot better. So little sparkles of spirit light and what have you. So yeah, sat for transfiguration a few times. That was quite good, quite interesting.
Okay.
And also piqued my jumping back a stage, going back into the late 80s when I was going to the spiritualist church. I was thinking about doing spiritual healing, becoming a spiritual healer. Okay. But I think at the time there was about a 4 or 5 year training period. So moving forward back into the development circles where we were traveling sort of 45 minutes at Jean Noel's, I was given various information about my spirit guides, and 2 of them are spirit doctors that I work with, or work with me through spirit.
I'm just going to write down some key words too, mate, if you don't mind. So if I'm not looking at your guides, that's okay.
That's fine. That's fine. So so I was told about the spirit doctors that wanted to work with me. So I thought, well, I don't want to go down the spiritual healing route, because that's going to take 5 years, and I want to do it faster than that. So I went down the Reiki route. So I'm a Reiki 2, level 2 practitioner, doing Reiki healing as well. Been doing that for 20 years. And just recently, I have actually become a certified spiritual healer as well. So, the healing route, we've had some pretty good experiences, and one of my guides have come through to heal people, of course. One of the a friend of mine, Sherry, who had bad knees. I was sort of doing some Reiki on her, and she says, "Oh, that hurts. Oh, that's a little bit painful." And she said it felt like someone had shoved their finger inside her kneecap and fiddling around. So one of my
Really?
guys doing a bit of psychic
So that
surgery.
so it was like a guide who did that. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, like you
Yes.
channeled so so you're channeling a guide. So you're sitting down just to get a perspective for the viewers. You're sitting down. You do it. You're channeling your guide, and then your
Yep.
guide comes in as like a doctor. You see that on cartoons, Steve. You know what I mean? You see that on cartoons
Yeah.
and all
Yeah.
those kind of things. You see someone coming in and doing some healing or whatever it may be. That's amazing.
I was doing hands-off healing, so my hands were a few inches from either side of her knee, channeling the energy, getting the energy flowing, and then that's when she felt the prod or the finger or something like that inside her knee. So yeah, it was pretty phenomenal. That's happened a couple of times where people have had physical phenomena, I suppose, if you want to call it that, because they can physically feel the manipulation of the spirit guides. Yeah, really
Oh,
good.
okay. So when you talk about that, you've practiced you practice that as well? If I haven't gone right,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well, that's down to the Reiki and
yeah.
channeling the spiritual energy, the healing
Okay.
vibration,
So
and
so
you raise.
so keep going. Sorry, mate, you're dropping
No,
out a
no.
bit there. Sorry, keep
I
going.
I was going to say you raise your vibration so spirit can come in with their energy as well. So they overlay their energy with your energy and start manipulating the person needing healing. Start to heal them.
Okay. So, but okay, so that's a pretty basic principle when you actually, I'm doing my level 3 at the moment, and there's a different way of doing it with my Reiki master, DG James, and there's a way that she's always done that. Like, so you sort of call in the type of healing that you do, or the person that you need to heal. It's very comic book, isn't it? Like, yeah, it's very comic book in a lot of
Yeah,
ways,
yeah.
but
It's,
it's so real. It's so real out there when you sort of open your mind to it, isn't it?
yeah, certainly. I mean, it's not difficult. All you have to do is open yourself up to your guides, ask them to come in to help with the healing.
Yep.
With Reiki, you start the Reiki energy by doing certain symbols to bring the energy forward, to help the energy start flowing. And with myself, I've been working with spirit guides as well, so they can come in. Doesn't always happen with the Reiki side of things, because you're using a different technique, but they can come through with the healing as well. You can also again get
Wow.
mediumistic information through. You're not supposed to tell them while you're doing the Reiki, because that's a different technique, I suppose, or a
Is there,
different principle.
is there a principle? I was going to say, is there a principle with regards to? I mean, as I said, opening up. There's a lot more opinions and stuff. I mean, there's certain structures that you got to do. But so you basically call them in. You don't tell them what the healing's for. Do you sort of channel it in? Do you sort of channel that with the spirit instead of the physical? Is that an easier way to describe it?
Yeah, well, what I will do is envisage a circle of pure healing energy around the person or the knee. If I'm sort of, it's just the knee that I'm
Yep.
concentrating.
Yep.
But generally speaking, the healing will go to wherever it's needed. So you don't have to direct it. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is be a channel for the spiritual
Oh,
energy, the
okay.
healing vibration. So there's no medical training you need because you're not doing anything. All you're doing is being a conduit to facilitate the spirit guides or the spiritual energy coming forward to surround the
That,
recipient.
the recipient of the area. Yeah. I've got a
Mm,
friend of mine over here. It's very similar. He's a Native American here. His name's Red Horse. He's a very, very, very. He's one of my. He calls me little brother. But very similar. When I had healing through him, he'd call in the Native American spirit guides, and he'd call my guides in, which are connected to that past life. And there's a lot more to it that I'm very connected to the Native American culture and their thing. And then, and what you're describing is exactly what I've gone through. That's
Mm,
amazing, mate. So you do
mm.
that yourself? You have clients yourself? You do that as well, or do
Don't
you
have,
have
don't have clients at the moment. My full-time job is actually IT, information
Okay,
technology. So that's my the healing side of things is taking a little bit of a back step,
that's
but it
okay.
is
Yeah.
I'm moving forward into now. So we're rolling down the IT business to give me more time to do the spiritual healing
It's
and
amazing
the
that,
tools and
yeah.
things. Yeah.
It's amazing that we're all of us who. It's funny that when we connect, like when I did put up that post to talk about what you're doing, you get a general feel for 2024 is for people like what we've gone. We've gone through that journey, that spiritual journey. I'm a phys ed teacher by trade, and I've sort of moved into sort of relief teaching, which is basically going around different schools. Excuse me, and sort of looking at more interviewing, looking at developing myself, my healing abilities, and all those things that I've done for so long, but really focusing in on that and my journey with regards to that. So it's amazing that we're all on the same path in a lot of ways, isn't it?
Mm,
2024, the year of abundance, 2244, 2224, which is 8. So yeah, keep going. This is great. Keep going.
okay. So yeah, so I became Reiki level 2
Yep.
and healing friends and family and a few clients over the past sort of 20 years. And then about 5 6 years ago, I started to have the urge, the momentum started to build again with the spiritual side of things.
When did that
Uh,
start? When did that start for you, Steve? Because I sort of going through my spiritual journey starting from 219. I sort of really felt a shift about 220, 221 when I joined Greg Riley and Michael McNair. When did you actually feel that come through? Because a lot of people haven't in the last 5 years. It's been spasmodic that people are starting to really feel that from about two. I think it was when we had that the lockdown and all those things. And really, people like us really started to come forth. Would that be fair
yeah,
to
yeah.
say?
Well, for me, I mean, I've always been interested in it. I've always
Mm.
sort of felt something. I always knew there was more to life than just Earth and this 3D,
Yep. 3D
this
stuff. Yep.
3D coat that we've got.
Yep.
Um, when back in sort of 2002, when me and my business partner, who's now passed in spirit, Dave, was going to Gene Knowles, the medium, they were talking about an energy shift then and how the energy was changing and the vibration was getting higher. Uh, the, that also brings in a lot of negativity because life is about balance, and this world that we live in is also about balance. So everything is sort of day and night, happiness, sadness, things like that. So we're all going through uh, a perpetual stage of ups and downs, as I'm
Yep.
sure you're aware of.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah. I've had
life is about contrast.
yeah, different energy shifts and I think coming into our own more than anything there, Steve, would that be fair to say? Especially in the last
Yeah,
six
yeah,
months,
definitely.
6 to
Mm.
12 months has been a huge shift for people like on that ascension on that ascension. I was talking to Danny Searle in Brisbane actually, and he was saying the same thing where he was at. He's noticed that
Yeah.
ascension process that all of us are going
it,
through.
it's it's certainly accelerated over the past
Yeah, it
20 years.
has. Yeah,
So
it has.
it's more of it's been more than that because they started to feel this change starting in the early 2000s. So it's probably been going on from about the 1980s or 1990s, something like that, but
Mm.
more of a logarithmic scale. So on a logarithmic scale, it starts off fairly slow and then the peak really comes up. And I think we're getting to
We're getting to it.
big transition period. Yeah, certainly.
I
And the
was gonna
past,
I was gonna ask you, Steve. Sorry to interrupt. But I was just thinking those timelines you were saying with regards to it. I sort of felt the big change when we went to into the new millennium. Just before that, I sort of saw the change with regards to people and and the ego, sort of people going with ego or going with going spiritual. If you get where I'm, well, we'll use the two words there. I don't know. I went ego for starters, but it was sort of that it was that ticked me off to get really into the spiritual side of things and look within me more than anything. How would you say that about 2000 thereabouts?
um, hmm, Definitely 2000 is when the energy started to
Yeah,
peak. Started,
that's right. Yeah,
and over the past sort of 4 or 5 years, well, 6 years, I think, for myself, it's really gone up
it
in
has. Yeah,
momentum.
yeah,
The
it has. That
momentum's
that
really
that
gone
that,
up
that
then.
that's well. That
You know,
just to give a perspective for the viewers, because coming from you're in a totally different you're in the southern northern hemisphere. I'm in the southern. All these kind of things sort of play a part, but it's good to hear from different perspective how people perceive that energy. As I said, last 5 years has been the one for me when I had that breakdown. Bang, go from there. Sorry to interrupt there, mate. It's been really, yeah,
no,
really,
that's fine. That's fine.
really
Well,
interesting.
going on to sort of 2000 and sorry, 2017, I suppose. I started to feel the momentum growing, and I wanted to move my life into the more spiritual side of things,
Yeah,
doing more Reiki and doing more chats about um, the spirit world, life after death, reincarnation,
yep,
things like that, as well as living life to the max, because that's what we're here for. We're here for the experience. We're spiritual beings having an earthly experience, and
absolutely.
experience is the
Yeah,
key.
yep.
The good and the bad, it's all part of this experience that we're having, and it's about how we come back into the center, into balance. So you can get too far, you can go out of balance in both directions, as in getting too low and depressed, and getting too high and not living in the real world, shall we say.
Yep,
It's all about
absolutely.
coming back into the balance of things. um so yeah, I started to then increase my knowledge on various topics, the human body, biology, religion, spirituality, things like that, and started to follow people like Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden, Lynn McTaggart, if you've heard of those,
I haven't
as
heard.
well.
The first one I think
Yeah,
was a Joe Dispenza. Is that the one?
yeah, Dr.
Yeah,
Joe Dispenza, yeah, yeah.
yeah. I've heard of him. The other ones I haven't, but I'm sure they're on the same level.
Yeah, definitely. So there's a woman called Lynn McTaggart who is an investigative journalist, and she has been doing experiments where she will get a group of people together to send what she calls them intentions for various things. So it could be healing a relationship, it could be for more money, wealth, it
Yep.
could be for healing a particular illness. But she started off where a massive group of people that she was lecturing to, concentrated on one set of three different blocks of seeds. So block A, block B, block C. And they chose one at random to concentrate on. And the intention was for those seeds in block B, for example, to grow faster and bigger and stronger and healthier than the others. And after about a month, the experiment came to an end, and the block B seats were, I don't know, an inch taller than the others. So the power of the mind and the power of intention is what she's been doing. In effect, it's a bit like distance healing. So if you know about distance healing, where you can send a healing thought to someone, doesn't matter where they are in the world, and they'll receive the healing energies.
Do you feel that we're connected? Do you feel like that's exactly where it should work? Because I have this belief that we're being disconnected from the Earth and the universe, and we're sort of in this 3D as we call it. And what you're just describing is back in the day, say that we'll call it the pagans. I always say the pagans when they can really connected to the Earth, and we are a being of the Earth, and that's what we should be doing, what we can do. But we've been disconnected from it for so many years. Now it's
Yeah,
people like us who are bringing that back in, and we're I guess where it's I call it He-Man versus Skeletor. I love Master of the Universe, and it's He-Man versus Skeletor. So we're sort of winning that battle, if you get where I'm going.
yeah, certainly. Um, yeah, I think it, and again, the more people with the higher lighter vibration there is, the more contrast you're going to see as well, until it becomes back into balance again. So I think that's why we're going, or we have been through a turbulent time over the past 3 or 4 years, certainly with the wars that's happening around the world as well. So because there's an increase in the love energy out there, there's also an increase in the non-loving energy, or the absence of the loving energy. And again, I think 2024 is where things are going to start to come back into balance again, going over to
Yep.
25, 26, and 27 is when things are really going to start to come back into the center of our spiritual, wellness for the whole world. Let's call it that. So yeah, really, really, the energies are certainly there, and so. Oh, that's where we were going. Yes. So they're sending these intentions. So I started a Facebook group. One of my friends, one of her friends, had an illness, and she says, "I wonder if you could send them some healing." So I said, "Well, what we'll do, we'll do this intention experiment, as Lynn McTaggart calls it." So I created a Facebook group.
Yeah.
Invited a few people across, and we started every Sunday, 7 p.m. UK time, sending out healing intentions for people of the group, for people that the group members know.
Okay, so going through that, what was so you said in the intention that, well, can you give us a process? You're gonna give us the process of how you went through that? Yeah,
yeah.
Go for it.
So for our group, we do a little bit of a meditation to start off with, a relaxation to put us into a mindful state. And then we just repeat a phrase and imagine, we repeat a phrase and feel as though we're sending the words from our heart, is probably the easiest way to put it.
Yeah.
So we're becoming heart-centered. And then we're sending an intention. So it could be our intention is for Joe to recover from his broken leg, for example, faster than normal or something like that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. So then you just keep repeating that phrase and sending the healing intention. So she's brought it out into the open, in effect, distance healing, but without bringing the spirituality into it. So we're all capable of sending healing and healing thoughts and the healing vibration to other people.
It all comes down to vibration and frequency, doesn't it, Steve? Like,
that's right. Everything's vibration.
Yeah, because Jackie Lyons, my partner in Canada, she talked about that earlier in our podcast, about frequency, vibration, how important that is. And it's like when we do have that frequency and vibration, even within thoughts, words, and whatever we're doing, we attract those people into our lives. And we can talk about, when I talk about the shadow, you go down to that level, and if you don't heal it, you bring those people in. It's like a puzzle, isn't it? Like, it's like a puzzle putting those things in, isn't it?
It certainly can be, yeah, definitely. I mean, we are vibratory beings, and we resonate at a certain frequency depending on our moods and the way that we're feeling at that moment in time. So we give off an electromagnetic field that other people can feel as well. So if you've ever been into a room where a party, for example, you go into a party, you're feeling, oh, I really don't want to go here, I'm not feeling up to it, I don't feel right, but you get there and the mood of the party is such energetically vibrating that it lifts your mood as well. So the sympathetic resonance,
it's quite a simple thing, isn't it? Like, music's huge. I mean, I'm in the music industry, and what my job is in my band is to basically, if my energy's not, I know when I have a crappy gig, because or whatever it may be, I just don't feel the energy's up, and the way I've only done it the last couple of weeks, Steve, is really turn the lessons upon myself. What am I learning about myself before I actually teach others? So, yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. That's very
no, you're fine. The opposite's also true as well. If you've heard of herd mentality or pack mentality.
Yes, yeah, I've heard that. Yep.
Yeah, the same thing where, the most mild-mannered person can go to a football match, and because of the energy around them, people start to kick off, causing trouble, and then they'll get into the same frequency and energy because of the energy around them, and then they start causing trouble as well, where they would never, in a million years dream of hitting someone, for example. They go out because the energy around them is the same. So they're picking up the energy from around them. That's changing their energy into a lower vibration and causing problems as well. So, the vibratory field, the energy field, the electromagnetic energies that we are kicking out, if we're in a lower vibrational state, we can affect other people, but vice versa.
Yep.
If we're in a good state, we can also affect other people.
Do you think in that's a great scenario. I mean, you've got soccer over in or football we call it over you call it over in
Yeah, yeah.
UK, and we've got the AFL, which is the Australian rules. Do you think that looking at a really basic level, you go and sit in that area, can you actually keep your vibration up, or do you think people can be? Do you think you're can be easily influenced by that vibration, or do you think it comes with the work you do within to keep that vibration up, Steve? Or what do you what do you think basically at the end of the day, can you protect yourself in that situation, your vibration?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can certainly, if you know about it, you can protect yourself. If you don't know about it, you don't know what's happening. So you just start to feel lower in energy, or grumpier, or more agitated, depending on what the energy around is like. But if you monitor your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, if you become mindful, and once you start learning to become mindful, you can then think, oh, I'm feeling a bit off, I'm feeling a bit angrier than what I normally am, or than what I should be. So
Mm.
then you can start to adjust your energy field. You can start to adjust your thoughts, and your thoughts create chemicals in your body that then create emotions as well, that then start to
Amazing.
increase
Yes.
and build your energy field from there. So yes, you can, in
It
effect.
makes sense, and I think it comes down to Greg and Michael told me one thing. I mean, you're telling us the power of choice. You're just teaching us the power of choice, there, Steve.
Oh,
I
yeah, yeah,
mean,
yeah. You've got the
it's a
choice. Yeah.
power. Yeah, you got a choice to do that, haven't you? And
Mm,
when you
mm,
and you have that power within you, you can make that choice, and then you can come and say, "Oh, I got to go and see Steve from the UK. He'll give me those skills to get to that when I am in a in a situation." I mean, there's a lot of people who don't really cope in society too well. I mean, they're very introverted, and they just go, the energies are too much, especially
mm.
empaths. I mean, I don't know about yourself,
Yeah.
but I know I've been feeling it stronger and stronger these days. I mean, I can only hang around certain people in some ways. You know what I mean? Even though I'm
Oh,
in
yes.
the
Yeah.
music
Well,
scene.
you're picking up their energy. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
if you're familiar with guitars, if you have a guitar, two guitars, and you pluck the string on one guitar, if they're tuned to the same frequency, the second guitar will start to vibrate as well. So
Yes.
that's sympathetic resonance. So, and
So
again,
we learn a
that's
lot,
the,
man.
that's the
Yeah.
same thing with us humans as well. We have an energy field around us that's vibrating and changing all the time based on our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And again, you can affect other people, and I can affect other people, and other people can affect me. But once you become aware of that, once you realize that you do have a choice with your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, we're the only species that we know of that can change our thought patterns at will. So we can think, oh, I'm not feeling good.
Yes.
I'm going to
Yes.
change. I'm going to feel good. I'm going to start thinking of happy thoughts instead of sad thoughts. And you can change your energy and your vibration just by the thinking about it. So we're the only sort of
Well, we are,
we're the
aren't we? I
only
mean, we are,
species
aren't we? We
that can
are, aren't
change
we?
their state of being at will. Yeah. So once
Uh,
you realize that, life's your oyster.
yeah. Well, the
So to,
thing is, yeah, I always make reference to, I mean, between us and the Lion Pack, they make decisions as they go, as we consciously put there's a lot of different modalities or different aspects that go into a decision that we make because we're consciously making those. Whereas they call it animal instincts. That's exactly what they are. They just go right, bang. They don't think; they just go. Making a
yeah.
decision to do things. Steve, we've got 2 minutes on this first part. We're gonna recalibrate, and we're gonna come back in a couple of minutes' time to do the second part. We're looking forward to hearing some of your stories that you wanted to speak about. We're looking at you're interested in the extraterrestrial, the spirit world with the guides, and talking to ghosts. I mean, I love ghosts. It's cool, eh?
When things go bump in the night, I'll tell you a good story about that.
Oh well, look, I love
Mm.
my favorite time of my favorite time of the year is Halloween, my friend. I mean, my Christmas is Halloween, and my friend of mine, we should say, we could have Halloween on the 30th with 31st, which we know it's not the real one, but anyway, and then we have another one on the 25th. My friend goes, we should have Halloween 2.0 and call it Christmas, otherwise known as Halloween 2.0 because it's such a great thing with regards to everyone loves the horror stuff, but it's very spiritual as well.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Look forward to it.
No
We'll,
worries. We'll see you in a couple of minutes.
yes, definitely.
All right. Thanks a lot, Steve.
Bye for now.